Hello guys, Overrated Gaming here, and welcome back to another video. Now, I decided to do something a little bit different, being as I've been looking at some of you guys' feedback, people who were giving me feedback. Some of you guys said, you want some gameplay over my voice, basically over my voiceovers. So I'm trying stuff a bit different. Let me know what you guys want to see, or what do you think's better. I'm always open to suggestions, of course. So this is some gameplay from Killing Floor. I don't know if I've uploaded this before, so if I have, then I apologize, but this is some gameplay with me and my buddy Callum, which playing some Killing Floor. But anyways, today, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to give my 2 cents on Wrestlemania Part 1 and 2. I'm going to do this all in one go and as quickly as possible. First of all, I'm just going to get the pre-shows out of the way. What a pre-show. We had, on night 1, we had Cesaro and Drew Gulak versus, Cesaro versus Drew Gulak, and on night 2 we had Liv Morgan? Yeah, Liv Morgan and Natalia. Both great matches. Obviously probably could have went on a bit longer, but for what they had, for what it was good. So there's pretty much to say on that. Also, you've got to take into account, guys, that this WrestleMania was obviously behind closed doors, obviously to take away from what's happening in the world right now. So did they do a good job? Yes, they did. I made a statement on Twitter. I did a live stream on Twitter, and I said this is probably going to go down as one of the worst WrestleManias of all the time, considering the circumstances of no crowd and whatever. But I'm telling you now, spoiler alert, I'm fully retracting that statement. I am fully retracting that statement, because oh my days, they smashed it out the park, especially night 2. Night 2 was just a different beast, and we're going to get into it now. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are my WrestleMania opinions and my review of WrestleMania 36 2020. So it starts off, it was a tag team match between Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus Asuka and Kairi, the Kabuki Warriors. What I didn't realise is that the Kabuki Warriors had defended the titles 5 times up to this point, and they've been reigning for 6 months. We've gotta, stop with this, letting people hold titles and not not doing anything with them. It hinders them, it hinders the title. It doesn't make anything special. But it was a good match. Asuka is a very solid worker, so is Kairi. Nikki is very underrated in my opinion. Fair enough, she's a bit of a comedy character now, but again, she's very underrated. Bliss is always a very good wrestler. Very good matchup, very solid matchup. Again, it did what it had to do. Bliss and Cross are champions. I think they'll do more with the titles, or they'll be allowed to do more with the titles than other people. Also, it was a great match, and then we moved on to the worst match out of the whole night, which was Baron Corbin and Elias. Now, it wasn't the worst match in terms of the match itself. Again, it was a good match for what it was, but I didn't care. It was one of the matches which was just there. But again, for the match itself, if we're talking match quality, very great match. Again, did what it had to do. Hopefully that feud is done. So now, excuse me. Hopefully that feud is done now. So we'll move on to better things. Hopefully Corbin can get something out of it. I'd like to see Corbin versus Strowman. I think if Roman's not coming back anytime soon, or for however long we've got no fans, I'd like to see Corbin take on Strowman. I think that would be a pretty good matchup. But anyways, we move on. We move on to the next match on the card, which was the what match was it now? God, it was the triple threat. No, it wasn't. It was the Intercontinental Championship match between Daniel Bryan and Sami Zayn. Do I wish they could have went on longer? Yes. Unfortunately, I really do wish they could have gone on longer. You know, those are two guys that can put on a clinic. But again, good match for what it was. Sammy picking up the big dub. Again, very good match, very solid match. Wasn't the best match on the card, but again, it was a solid match. Again, it was a very solid match, pretty much. That's all I can say about it. But again, you know, it's gold from Sami Zayn, it's gold from Daniel Bryan, so you know, it's the best I could say about that. Then we moved on to the triple threat match, which was the triple threat tag team match, which I thought was quite weird at first, but then I realised, you know, it's probably best for, you know, for social distancing, number one, because I don't think they're allowed to have many groups of people, and also The Miz was sick, so it wouldn't have made sense for, you know, Morrison to compete by himself. But again, great match. Those guys, you know, blew it out of the park. I loved the finish to it. Some people didn't like it. I loved the finish to it. I thought it was a really good finish. Morrison picking up the big dub, and pray for his back as well, because that looked absolutely horrible. There was a match before that which I completely forgot about, and it is one I'd want to forget. The next worst match on the card, in my opinion. Not because, again, it wasn't because it was a bad match per se. Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler are both very, very talented wrestlers, very, very talented workers. I just have a huge problem with the way it ended. I just think, excuse me, I just think it didn't need to end the way it did. Even if Becky won, you know, it could have been done a lot better and handled a lot better than it was. Shayna lost like that again. You know, imagine, let's put it this way, imagine Brock Lesnar tearing through the whole division and then just getting beaten, you know, like Shayna did. You guys would be all upset about, you know, it's not giving Shayna, you know, it's not giving Brock a chance or whatever. And it's exactly the same thing with Shayna here. Again, you did all that build up just for her to just get whacked like that. Wasn't cool in my opinion. I didn't like that at all. But for what it was, again, the match was good up until that point. So I'll give that as a takeaway for that. Then it was the triple threat match, and then we had, what was the match after that? It was Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins, which was an absolutely great match. In my opinion, on night one, that was match of the night. I love the storytelling. That's one thing that WWE got really right throughout this whole thing, was the storytelling, in my opinion. I think the storytelling was absolutely insane. They did bits with storytelling, and this was one of the matches which showcased that storytelling. You know, Kevin Owens not wanting to give up, you know, not wanting to end WrestleMania like that. He wanted his WrestleMania moment. I love Seth being like, nah, you don't get your WrestleMania moment, so I'm gonna hit you in the head with a ring bell. And then it was no DQ. That moment where Kevin Owens dived off the top of the WrestleMania sign. Bravo, lads, bravo. Take a bow, son. That was a great match, well crafted. And yeah, the best I gotta say about that, was really good match, really well did match. Then the next match after that was the Universal Championship match, which was against Strowman and Goldberg. Again, that was basically SmackDown, here comes the pain, set your finishes to max kind of match. Again, Goldberg can't go for very long. Again, it made sense for Strowman to win because Goldberg could not pick up Strowman for the jackhammer. He struggled to pick up Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker. So, unfortunately, that ain't gonna fly. But again, it was good for what it was. Strowman picking up the big dub. Finally, he gets a Universal Championship or World title, which I was happy for him. You know, he did seem quite emotional about it, which again, I'll take over that. You know, it was a good win. It's a good win. It's a good win for him. You know, we said, you know, the trigger should be pulled on him, and unfortunately it wasn't. So now we get to see what he can do. Obviously, it would have been Roman, but excuse me, we can't complain. We can't complain. So Again, great match. But then we come to an absolute gem, and that was the Undertaker versus AJ Styles in the Boneyard match. Oh man, that match made me laugh. It made me laugh. The guys blew it out the park. Cinematic matches. I know it's not the creation of Matt Hardy, but either ways, you know, stuff like the final deletion, stuff like the ultimate deletion, this match, like, oh man, I think when the situation calls for it, like, I don't want WWE to spam this like they do. They see something catching on and then they're just like, let's do as much of it as possible till it gets boring. But honestly, like, you know, when the situation calls for it, put a Boneyard match on, put a cinematic match up, because it generally works when you do it right. And we'll talk about doing it right when it comes to the Cena Wyatt match as well, because that was brilliant. But we'll get to that a bit later. An absolute gem of a match. I love when AJ buried the Undertaker, and then he was going to start the truck up, and Undertaker just pops out from behind him. I love it. I absolutely love it. So, you know what I mean? Great match. Enough good things I can say about that match. Yeah, I mean, I was a bit disappointed that they didn't put Limp Bizkit on for the Undertaker's theme tune, but Metallica will do. So, you know, it's one of those. But, you know, again, we can't be too picky. Great matchup. And then we moved to night 2. So, as I said before, it was Natalya versus Liv Morgan. Again, good matchup, great match. But then we move on to, in my opinion, so far, match of the year. And that goes to Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. Now, a lot of people are divided on this, and I'm going to give my 2 cents on this. So, I can understand people seeing Charlotte as like the female Roman Reigns. I get that. I completely do. However, I'm going to put my 2 cents on this. You see, if Becky won in the way that Charlotte did last night, I would have been okay with Shayna losing, which is why I'm okay with Rhea losing. Don't get me wrong, Rhea is going to be a star. She will be. So don't count her out just yet. She's not buried, in my opinion. She's really not buried. She looked like a monster through that match. She really did look like an absolute monster through that match. She bullied Charlotte for most of the match, to be quite honest. It was only until Charlotte got a bit smarter, started attacking that leg, that you know, it was a real you know, that's when it started to, you know, go in Charlotte's favour. Not only that, but when you also look at it, Charlotte had to work for that victory. Rhea, you know, those two kicked the crap out of each other. They really did. Rhea had to work. Rhea had to make Charlotte work for that victory. It wasn't just a simple 1, 2, 3. So again, that's why I say she's not buried. I get why people won't like Charlotte winning, but here's what I think. I think she personally is the best wrestler when it comes to the female world. I think she's the greatest of all time. Whether you agree with that, you know, it's up to you. But in my opinion, she's the greatest female wrestler of all time. When you need somebody to deliver on big match occasions, it's WrestleMania, you need something to feel special, that's where you bring Charlotte in. That's where people like Charlotte thrive. We saw that last year with the triple threat match. Did she need to be added? No, but again, you know, it's one of those ones. It's the same thing. You know, I understand it's the same thing with people like over the years, when you look at Hogan and you look at Cena and you look at Roman Reigns. You know, when you want a big match feel, when you want, you know, something to feel special or whatever else, what do? You call in the big guns. So again, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Whether you want it to be, you know, whether you want Charlotte to be, you know, your standard bearer, you know, it's not your decision at the end of the day. It's Vince's. Put it that way. So again, Charlotte was amazing. This also opens the door, in my opinion, to guys like Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, Rhea. Who else we got? Tainara in NXT, because Charlotte's not facing the same three people. She's not facing Charlotte. She's not facing Becky, Sasha, or Bayley. There's none of that going on. She is facing new competition, which is what we've wanted to see, because I'm sick and tired of seeing the 4 horsewomen dominate every pay-per-view, or just facing the same people every time. So again, it's a good mix-up. And again, it does open the door a lot. So again, I'm happy with it. It was a great match of the year in my opinion. Well crafted, great storytelling. So what more can you ask? Then from one storytelling masterpiece to another, as we go to Randy Orton versus Edge. Holy crap! Those two tried to murder each other, and we were sitting here like, yes. Yes. DDT him into the truck. Yes. Punt him, Randy. Punt him. Like, oh my god. Again, keeping it short and sweet. Watch the match. Put it that way. Watch the match. It was almost 40 minutes of attempted murder. There was more attempted murders in this match alone than the entire Tiger King series. Put it that way. There, yo, I am saying, yo, there, it was absolutely flipping nuts. Like, there's no, like, there's just no words to describe it. I love the storytelling, aspects. The way Edge cried before he gave Randy the concerto, after everything Randy put Edge through. Sadistic Randy is always the best Randy. Back in the days of him punting Stephanie McMahon and kissing, RKO'd Stephanie McMahon, and then he kissed her on the lips. Like, that is classic Randy. And we saw a lot of it here. A great match. What a match. You're going to be hearing me say that a lot, because holy crap, what a match. We got to the SmackDown Women's Championship match, which was very good. Better than I expected. Here comes the Hoes Mad fans who wanted Sasha to win it. But again, Bayley winning, I probably would have said Sasha was going to take the title, but and I was ready for it. But Bayley winning after Sasha, it was a little bit weird, but I think what they're trying to do is build it a bit more. WrestleMania is kind of like another piece in the puzzle. So I'm down for it. Hopefully SmackDown, there's more build to it, to eventually when Sasha does beat Bayley for the title, because I think that she's the only person really who's close enough to challenging for the title. And I also missed out a match again, Otis versus Dolph. Excuse me. Otis versus Dolph was great. Again, Sonya coming out with Dolph, which I'm disappointed about. I'm not gonna lie. I think somebody like Sonya is way above this feud. Sonya first, but at the same time, I've always said that Sonya needs to break away from Mandy. She's gonna actually have a chance of being a champion, I think. And we're seeing that happen. So hopefully, we see a more dangerous side to Sonya Deville. Her character evolves and we get Daddy Sonya back. So I'm hoping that Sonya comes out on top through this. I really think Sonya is the next SmackDown Women's Champion if they give her the chance to. But anyways, we go on to Raw, and it was the Raw Tag Team Championships defended. Again, solid match. Street Profits always going to bring it versus Austin Theory, who I'm super proud of. The first ever wrestling show I went to was last year. It was Progress. This dude was Evolve champion, and then from the space of just over a year, he's got an NXT. Not only has he done that, but he's featured in a WrestleMania match, and I couldn't be more proud of this dude. Again, solid match. I love Bianca Belair's little WrestleMania moment, and you know, Montez just being an absolute legend. Obviously, those two are husband and wife. Those two brought it. Angelo Dawkins is the unsung hero once again. But yeah, honestly, couldn't be more proud of that match. Great match. But then we come to the masterpiece, a cinematic masterpiece. I said before on Twitter, I said, yo, John. I said, not John, sorry. I said, yo, if Undertaker retires from wrestling, you have to go to Hollywood. But Cena and Wyatt blew it out the park. The psychology in that match was second to none. You know, when you look at, you look at Cena, you know, obviously he's had a lot through his career. You know, could this be the end of Big Match John? Is the question. You know, when you look at it, when you look at it, you've got, you know, Bray, who was distraught that, you know, John Cena buried him practically. So then it was a case of, you know, it was a case of then, you know, Bray wanting to be, I'm mixing up my words here. Bray wanted John to be sorry for what he did at WrestleMania. John's been like, no, I did what I did because you didn't deserve it. And then, you know, Bray was like, no, you're going to say sorry. He created The Fiend. And oh my God, we got to see every kind of aspect of John Cena. We saw Thugonomic Cena. We saw prototype John Cena. We saw, who else did we see? We saw John Cena joining the NWO. What? That is something I was not expecting to see. But oh my God, what a match. What a match. The psychology of it was perfect. And again, this is what happens when you let Bray's ideas come into effect. Like, it was just cinematic gold. Cinematic matches need to happen a lot more often, and special occasions like this, you know, because oh my God. But hopefully, you know, if Braun doesn't challenge Baron Corbin for a title, I would like to see Strowman versus Wyatt. I feel like there's history in that too. So what a great match. What a great match that was. But then we move on to my Pièce de Resistance. I don't know if you said if I've said that right, but I don't care. Drew finally did it, lads. He finally did it. I am so happy. For those of you who don't know, I've been a fan of this guy since he first come on the scene as the Chosen One. You know, I looked at that guy and I was like, you know what, there's something special about that guy. There really is something special about that guy. And then, you know, I'd see him you know, make it, you know, his little appearances on NXT, and he was Intercontinental Champion for a bit, and then he was with 3MB, and it just didn't work. And I was like, what are they doing with this guy? You know, there's so much potential with this guy. You know, why aren't people using him in the way he should be used? And then I didn't realise he got fired, because then I stopped watching wrestling for a while. And me watching things like ICW and WCPW and seeing this guy climb back to the top, you know, being the top guy in every indie promotion, and then, you know, just coming back to NXT, winning the NXT title, coming back to WWE, again a bit of a slow burner, but he came back, and I can't be more happy for Drew. I can't be more happy for Drew. The guy fully deserves it. Everything he deserves, everything he's got coming to it, he absolutely deserves it. And he is the first ever British World Champion. So lad, take a bow. You've done all of us proud. Not only that, but I didn't realise that Scotland now has 5 current WWE champions. What? We got Nikki Cross, one half of the SmackDown Women's Championships. We've got Mark Coffey and Wolfgang as part of Gallus. They're the NXT UK Tag Team Champions. We've got Kaylee Ray as the NXT UK Women's Champion, and now we've got Drew McIntyre. Scotland is doing a madness, and rightly deservedly so. They've had some of the best wrestlers in the year, over the years. Sorry, but like, oh my God, I'm so happy for Drew. I'm so happy. And we talk about the match as well. I normally, you know, hate on Brock Lesnar a lot, but again, the build was absolutely amazing. I love the fact, for me, what solved that match was once again Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman is an absolute legend in the game. If we talk about selling a match and making a match really important, he does that every time. You know, his was literally, you know, there is no possible way that Drew McIntyre can win. He's good, but he's not quite Carling in a certain way. But the guy, you know, he sold that match to perfection. You know, when you know, Brock Lesnar hit Drew McIntyre with like another F5, and Drew kicked out, and you know, Brock was getting frustrated, and Paul Heyman was just like, no, hit him again, keep hitting him, do this all day until he dies. You know what I mean? And oh my god, what a mania! Wait, I forgot a match. I don't know if I've said this already, but Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley, good match. I did like how Lana was like, no, don't do that move, spear him, and what happens? He gets black masked. So yeah, that was a good match, but Drew won, so we don't really care. Drew won, and oh god, what a mania. So if I was to give this a rating out of 10, I'm giving this a absolute solid downright 9. What a mania. Is it the best mania of all time? No. I think for me, my favorite WrestleMania is still always going to be 19. I think 19 was just too good as a mania, but this is definitely up there. WrestleMania 36 will go down in history books as one of the best WrestleManias of all time, and deservedly so, considering this, you know, the amount of time they had to record everything, you know, the amount of work they put into it, the time schedule, and the booking. For the most part, everything was done to perfection, and you know, you can tell the hard work they put into it. Honestly, WWE, thank you. I know we sometimes hate on you guys a lot, but oh man, you can't complain over this mania. You just can't. There may be some results you may be unhappy with, but you can't complain that this was a bad mania. It wasn't. It was an absolute masterpiece, best mania they've had in years, and I'm happy. I'm so happy. You know, if WWE's purpose of doing this WrestleMania was to distract people from what was going on in the world today, and you know, to give us a good time, they've done it. They've done it. What a match! What a mania! WWE, take a bow. Take an absolute bow. Solid 9 out of 10. What a mania. But that's going to do it for you guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys thought about Mania in the comments. I do want to hear you guys' opinion. Maybe comment on some matches which you think should have went the other way. You know, I'd like to hear you guys' 2 cents. But without further ado, that's going to bring this video to an end. If you like this style of videos, let me know. But I will see you guys next time in another video. Take care. Have a great day. God bless, and stay inside. Take care. Bye now.